Yo, what is up? What is up? What is up? All right. Okay. Let's get to it. Get to the good shit. Anyway. Hey shitheads, it's me, the Duke. Alright, well, I'm just gonna start popping out the damn chat, I guess. Woo. Oh man. Oh, heartbreak. Oh wow, I guess. I need to eat some. Oh, did I get paid? Did I make some money? That would be great. Damn it. Did not. I got a style instead. Alright, what do I got to do?
May the gods give you strength. Dr. Fate's wisdom will guide you through limbo. It is a realm where the forgotten wait for...
Time to go to limbo!
May the gods give you strength. Dr. Fate's wisdom will guide you through limbo. It is a realm where the forgotten wait for their freedom. At least now you can free them from Brainiac. Strike a blow for us all, and free the magical realms.
Oh shit. End game music on. Where's the audio at? Oh, it's turned up kind of high too. Okay. Well, we can let that rock. Woo-wee! Let's get some fucking chicken. Oh, man. Yeah. Relaxing, man. Just relaxing. No bullshit. Not dealing with the nonsense. Just fucking chilling. All I'm trying to do there. All I'm trying to do. What's up, KFC? Baby! Damn, bro. Fuck. Damn, that shit's expensive, bro. Get that drum and thighs bucket. Original recipe. Get the coleslaw. And the mac and cheese. Yes, sir. Actually, do I want the mac and cheese? Let me get the fries. Yo, this shit comes with 3 fucking sides? I don't need that much shit. That's why it's fucking expensive. I was like, bro, I don't need 3 fucking sides. And you know what? Let me just get it. Let me get the 12-piece chicken only. Cause you're all wild. Bro, I don't need all that shit. Large coleslaw. Actually, you know what? And whoa, 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 whoa. Here we go. All right.
Good. You are here. Brainiac's forces are carving wormholes into the magic realms. If we destroy the wormholes quickly, we seal off their reinforcements.
Now, good girls tend to act a little bit different because of their environment. But on everything, a lot of times, bro, they be bad as hell. Like, I'm not her rash used to be my weakness. Still kind of hit, but that's a story for another day. So if you cool with a girl from the hood that you want to be more, or you kind of just chatting to her and you don't know if she likes you or not, don't worry. I got she hears 3 signs of her girl like she now. Girls tend to do this a lot. If a hood girl presses out people for you, then that probably means she likes you. A lot of times, hood girls be feeling the need to protect their significant other. This goes from males or females. And don't let somebody get your order wrong at a restaurant. She gonna act like somebody committed a cardinal sin. But to sum it up, if a hood girl likes you, she'll go to bat for you, even if you're not tripping. So it's official.
Ooh. All right.
The first episode of Soul Leveling is who officially stepped into the world of Jinwoo Sung, the E-ranked weakest hunter on Earth. And we're gonna be in the confines of that world for a while. That story of Soul Leveling is almost 180 chapters long. Therefore, at a 3-chapter an episode burn rate, we should end up around 60 to 65 episodes, meaning that the next 5 years are gonna have a whole lot of solo leveling. Though Soul Leveling might seem like a rather simple story, a story about the world's weakest hunter who stumbles into one too many dungeons and eventually gets power up that nobody else has, it does have some intricacies and complicated moments that might be a little tough to digest, especially towards the later half of the story. However, that's not what we're going to be addressing in the first season of the show, so we don't have to talk about that quite yet. Boy, oh boy, we're going to be doing videos on monarchs and rulers at some point. And I've already filmed the video telling you everything that you need to believe to be effective. Incredibly
has affected this
But
plane.
how does Jinwoo accomplish any of this? Well, the answer is pretty simple. System. See, System is a power, or a second awakening granted to Jinwoo at the end of the Double Dungeon, which is the first thing that we ever see happen in the story. And through the power of the system, Jinwoo is systematically able to get stronger and stronger and stronger until eventually he's the strongest hunter on Earth. At least that's the idea of the story. I'm not going to tell you what happens because that would be a spoiler. What is this system? How does it make Jinwoo stronger? Why does it have the capacity to make him the strongest hunter on Earth? Why do we get it? Well, we're going to answer all those questions, but first, let's start with the easy ones. So, what is System? Well, to make it incredibly simple, System basically operates just like a standard RPG leveling system. Think Baldur's Gate or World of Warcraft, or any game where you start at level 1 and slowly work your way up until you're the max level. Now, obviously, levels aren't the only thing involved in a standard RPG. There's stats, active skills, passive skills, titles, and all of these things play into making you stronger. However, depending on where you decide to allot your points, depends on how good you are at different things. Are you an assassin? Are you a tanker? Are you a mage? Are you a healer? Did you put points in intelligence? Did you put points in strength, wisdom, durability, speed? All of these are individual ways in which you not only make your character more unique, but also more powerful. At its core, that's exactly how System works. It makes Jinwoo an RPG character living in a fantasy world. Now is the only person with the ability to infinitely power up. The secret is in the soul leveling world. Humans with powers only awaken once. You awaken to your powers, and whatever powers you awaken to, that's how powerful you are for the rest of your life. Unless, of course, you undergo what's known as a second awakening. Second awakenings are rare, but they do happen. But second awakening usually looks like a D-rank hunter upgrading into an E-rank hunter instead. Jinwoo's access to the system allows him to go from E-rank hunter to a national level hunter, which is above S rank. Because it's not just one step, it's a continual mountain of steps. But how does System work? How does it make Jinwoo stronger, and what does it give him access to? Well, let's go over some of the minor details of what being gifted System gives you. We'll slowly work our way up to the more important details. See, one of the often forgotten yet incredibly important things that being given System gives you is an inventory. See, in dungeons, monsters drop a little, but not really. See, your average non-system hunter, monsters drop a thing known as essence stones. And therefore, when you kill a myriad of monsters, you'll leave the dungeon with a bunch of essence stones. Now, stronger monsters drop stronger essence stones. And therefore, the stronger the monsters you kill, the more expensive the essence stones they drop are. And this is why people want to do higher level dungeons, because higher level dungeons have higher level monsters, which means more money. It's standard RPG logic. However, to your average hunter, that's all that's dropped in a dungeon. And these essence stones are why hunters hunt. It's how they stay alive, it's how they make their money. Now, it's never technically explained why essence stones are valuable, though it's loosely implied in the story that essence stones are the source of massive amounts of money. And not like power, but like energy, and therefore high quality and technically low quality essence stones can be used to power an entire society. Now technically, we do know the reason that essence stones are placed in monsters in the first place, but that has to do with rulers and monarchs, and I don't want to get there with you right now. Just know essence stones have different ranks and different colors and are worth different amounts of money, with S-rank essence stones being worth literal millions. But after Jin Woo-sung gets access to the system, the monsters no longer just drop essence stones, as they can now drop loot. Now whether that loot be bottles of potions, armor, or weapons, that's all going to be placed somewhere, and that can all be placed in Jin Woo-sung's inventory. Which, mind you, is endless with no limit. We're not talking Skyrim inventory system here. So long as this is loot that either Jin Woo is gotten from killing monsters or bought from his shop, Jin Woo can place as much in there as he wants. Since we already brought it up, let's talk about it. Jin Woo also has access to something known as the shop, where Jin Woo can buy armor, potions, weapons, and also sell the loot that he gets from killing monsters. But then, how does he pay for these things, and how does the shop pay him? Well, when he gets access to the system, he now gets a new form of currency, double capitalism. And whenever Jin Woo kills a monster, he gets a little bit of that shop-based currency. So, not one, the Korean currency, but like some mystical fantasy currency. But the items that Jin Woo buys from the shop, he can technically share with other people. So let's say that Jin Woo were to buy a dagger because somebody in his raiding party lost their dagger. He couldn't throw it to them. However, that doesn't technically apply to everything. Jin Woo does have the ability to share with the people around him the things he gets from the shop, but only so long as they don't leave his hands. So let's say hypothetically, I was running around with Jin Woo, but I ran out of mana. And yes, mana exists. Jin Woo, if he had a mana potion that he bought from the shop, couldn't throw it to me and tell me to drink it, but he could open it and pour it in my mouth. Which, you know, I'd let it happen. Just look at him. On top of that, gets from killing monsters at the shop operates differently than real-world armor. Because here's the thing: there is real-world, mystical, powerful armor, and plenty of hunters wear it, and they also use real-life, powerful weapons. However, when they equip this armor or these weapons, it appears on them. Let's say hypothetically, I brought a Kevlar vest into a dungeon. If I put that Kevlar vest on, I would look like 50 cents for the entirety of that dungeon run. Technically, because of the way the system works, those rules don't apply to Jin Woo, as whenever Jin Woo puts armor on, it's invincible. Why, you ask? Well, because he's an RPG character, but he's already got a really cool character design, and we don't want to hide that under a bunch of armor, so it's invisible. Just because the armor's invisible doesn't mean that Jin Woo doesn't get all the added properties of having that armor on. So yes, his defense is naturally buffed by wearing this armor, and on top of that, he'll also get whatever buff is applied to the armor. So
Brainiac's presence in Shadow
Oh shit!
is the nexus of his invasion. I will lead you to
The Oblivion Bar.
Trigon himself has entered this plane. He must rise. Are you the one fated to stop Brainiac's invasion of these magical realms?
Ah. Fucking into the Oblivion Bar.
When you meet Brainiac, scratch his eyes out for me.
Diana fights in the Shadowlands, and I cannot follow to assist her. Don't underestimate what you may find in the Shadowlands.
I just found out my father's a god, and now all of magic might get eaten by a giant robot brain from space. The word bummer comes to mind.
Remember Wonder Girl's old design? Good times. Good times. Remember Donna Troy's old design? This does look better. It looks less cheap.
Brainiac want to take magic from Grundy. Grundy can't stop him. So Grundy sit at bar all day.
Okay. Can I talk to Etrigan? I cannot talk to Etrigan. He's not interactable at all.
Brainiac has invaded Limbo in the Shadowlands. Each magical land leads to another. Will the Rock of Eternity be next?
Ah, yes, the bartender. Alright, back to my video.
beat boost, damage boost. Since we're talking about basically the menu of the system, inventory, equipment, shop, let's talk about another menu item from the system. quests. See, outside of having an infinite inventory, a shop, and equipable armor, Jinwoo also pays into the RPG experience by being assigned to quests. And these quests really fall into two categories: daily and special event, let's call it. If Jinwoo completes these quests, he gets rewards, but if he doesn't complete these quests, he gets punishments. Now, getting a reward for completing a quest is fairly standard. However, getting a punishment for not completing a quest is where the story gets a bit unique. Now, Jinwoo has a myriad of different daily quests that he has to complete every single day, but the most prominent of them is his Road to Power quest. Now, the Road to Power quest sounds incredibly cool and complicated, it's not. The Road to Power quest says that Jinwoo basically has to do Saitama's workout every single day. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run.
Fucking crazy.
He gets a reward. Now, the reward usually looks like a random item and a status refill that Jinwoo can use whenever he wants. Now, what does that mean? What is a status refill? Well, a status refill refers to Jinwoo being able to either refill his mana, stamina, or health at one point whenever he wants to. So, hypothetically, Jinwoo did his Road to Power quest and was battling against a monster a couple hours after completing it. If that monster got him down to 1% health, he could use that status refill on his health to go back up to 100. However, he only has as many of these as he's completed daily quests. And while that sounds pretty nice and convenient, it's hardly a motivator to make me do Saitama's workout every single day. So the real motivator in all of this is punishment, because if Jinwoo fails to do a daily quest, he gets sent to a pocket dimension for 4 hours. And within the confines of that pocket dimension are a literal army of gigantic centipedes, all that want to kill Jinwoo. And thus the punishment for not running 10 kilometers and doing 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and 100 sit-ups is running for your life for 4 hours. But then again, you could also just fight back against the centipedes. Unfortunately, in the punishment world, XP is still given, and thus technically the punishment world isn't the worst place to grind out some levels. Though it's dangerous, but then again, so are dungeons. And levels, let's talk about levels. How do they work and how do they make Jinwoo strong? Well, level up increases all of Jinwoo's stats by 1.
What is up with these chicken places not having drugs? How long goes the KFC for fucking extra crispy? God damn it.
We give him 5 free points to allocate into whatever categories he wants to. So if anything, it's actually a pretty generous leveling system. Now, the categories in which he put points into are all pretty standard, and they all do pretty standard stuff. Jinwoo has all the accoutrements of a standard RPG system, like strength, which when he puts points into it makes him literally bigger and stronger. He has speed, which when he puts points into it makes him faster. He has intelligence, which when he puts points into it increases his overall mana amount. He has durability, which when he puts points into it raises his overall defense, and so on and so forth. Basically anything that you would be able to put points into in an RPG, he can put points into. And every single time he levels up, he gets stronger, faster, more durable, and has a higher amount of stamina. And there's a lot of different ways for Jinwoo to level up. Well, obviously Jinwoo could grind around and just kill low-level enemies until he finally gets enough experience to level up. Jinwoo's not really that kind of guy, he's therefore always going into higher and higher level dungeons. On top of this, the daily quests and the urgent impromptu quests also give Jinwoo a fair amount of experience, with the urgent impromptu quests giving him way more than the daily quests. But what are these urgent impromptu quests? Well, before we get into those, I'd like to say I'm going to be doing a little bit of possibly what can be considered spoilers here, but also not really. We're going to be talking about where the system came from and why Jinwoo was selected for it, which is information that definitely won't come up in episode 1, but if you want to know, then keep watching. So the reason I'm talking about this right now is because these urgent impromptu quests, like the Slay the Enemy quests, happen technically because the system wants Jinwoo to level up as fast as possible. And therefore, if Jinwoo finds himself in combat against somebody whose bloodlust is high enough, and also if they're powerful enough, Jinwoo will get an impromptu quest, like Slay the Enemy, which basically just tells Jinwoo to kill the person who's currently trying to kill him, which obviously noted, but these kinds of things happening might seem silly to a person reading the story for the first time. Like, obviously, it's an incredibly bloodthirsty person who's trying to kill me, I'm gonna kill him back. So why am I now just getting a quest in order to kill this person who I was obviously gonna kill anyways? That's because the system recognizes it's possible to fight as a way to give Jinwoo even more experience. And thus, when the system knows that Jinwoo is gonna do something, it'll usually assign him a quest to do that thing for extra XP. But why? Why does the system, which is supposedly just a power system, want Jinwoo to be stronger? Well, this is where we kind of get into the spoiler territory. See, because the thing is, the system itself was created by an entity known as the Architect, and therefore the Architect is the moderator of the system. Now, the Architect is the final boss of the Double Dungeon. It's a giant stone figure with an incredibly creepy smile. In fact, you've probably seen it in the trailers. Now, the system was made by the Architect for an entity known as Ashborn. Now, all you need to know about Ashborn is that he is literally the king of death, which might make him sound like a bad guy, but he's actually kind of not. I'm not going to get into why he's a bad guy or not a bad guy, because that is an actual spoiler. So all you need to know is that Ashborn is a part of a group of people known as the Rulers, who are the archenemy of a group of people known as the Monarchs. Monarchs want to kill all humans. Therefore, Ashborn is looking for a human vessel who will be able to take all of his powers in order to battle against the Monarchs. So Ashborn, as the literal king of death, chooses the one person on Earth who is the closest to death. And that person is Jinwoo Sung. Now, the reason that Jinwoo Sung is the closest person to death on Earth is because Jinwoo Sung is always almost dead. Jinwoo Sung is constantly going into dungeons, and every single time he's going into a dungeon, he's almost done. If there's one person who's tempted death the most out of anybody who's currently still alive, it's Jinwoo. And therefore, the Architect and Ashborn coordinate the Double Dungeon events to finally test Jinwoo. And when he passes the test of the Double Dungeon, that's when Jinwoo gets the system. And thus, the reason the system wants Jinwoo to get as strong as possible, as quick as possible, is so that Jinwoo can become the vessel for Ashborn. And thus, whenever you see the system trying to help out Jinwoo, this is why. And just giving impromptu quests isn't the only way the system will help Jinwoo. The system will also activate passive abilities of Jinwoo in certain situations without him asking me to, in order to help him in a fight in a way he didn't know he needed to be helped. And thus the system is actually active in making sure that Jinwoo not only doesn't die, but also gets as powerful as possible, as quickly as possible. And that power can actually come in a lot of different ways, like the abilities that the system is able to activate on its own. Jinwoo's passive skills. See, Jinwoo as he levels gains access to certain passive abilities, and these passive abilities can truly be anything, like longevity, which gives Jinwoo the inability to be affected by poison or debuffs, meaning that Jinwoo falls into the same categorization as Captain America. Because alcohol is considered a poison, he literally can't get drunk. And he's also got a ton of other passives, like the will to regenerate. And all of his passives simply boost his strength, regeneration, and overall stats, making him more powerful, faster, having more mana, stamina, and health, and so on and so forth. But passive abilities are the only way that Jinwoo gets passively stronger. And Jinwoo also, through the system, has access to something known as titles. Now, titles are also basically just passive abilities, but they're labeled differently. See, when Jinwoo does something impressive, he can get a title revolving around that impressive thing. So when Jinwoo kills a bunch of wolves, he gets the title Beast Hunter, which gives him a 40% damage increase to beast-type monsters. And eventually, these titles get absolutely ridiculous, as Jinwoo eventually gets access to things like the One Who Triumphed, which is a title that Jinwoo gets after a series of incredibly close battles that push Jinwoo to his limits. And because Jinwoo battled against so many enemies and so closely, this title gives him the passive ability that every single time he finishes a fight, the amount of health that he's lost, percentage-wise, will be added onto his total stats. So let's say, hypothetically, me and Jinwoo got in a fight, and I managed to take 50% of his health before he cuts me in half. Jinwoo get 50 points, all of his stats, and those are just his passive abilities. You're constantly buffing all of his stat categories, which eventually leads to Jinwoo being a nigh-immortal, infinitely powerful speed-of-light character. And that's without even taking his active skills into consideration. Because just like any RPG character, Jinwoo needs abilities. He's not just walking around stabbing everybody. He needs to have a couple of moves, he needs to have a couple of counters, he needs some stealth moves, some sprint moves, and while one would think that Jinwoo gets these abilities in a standard way, that is to say that when he levels up, he gets access to new abilities, that is one of the ways that he gets abilities. Jinwoo also has the ability to take the abilities off of powerful foes that he's killed. You see, because when Jinwoo defeats a powerful opponent, he can receive something called a runestone. And this runestone contains one of the abilities of the person he just defeated. And therefore, when Jinwoo breaks this runestone, he'll get access to the ability. And therefore, Jinwoo eventually ends up with an insane amount of abilities. Things like critical strike, dagger throw, stealth, sprint. And as Jinwoo spends more time with these techniques and uses them more and more and gets more levels, these techniques upgrade. Like the Ember eventually turning into Flamethrower in Pokemon. And the usage of all these techniques requires mana, in which, like we've already said, Jinwoo can get additional access to by increasing his intelligence. And while things like Critical Strike or Dagger Throw only use mana when you use them, he also has active abilities that use mana for every second that you continue to use them. That is to say that things like Critical Strike or Dagger Throw are a one-time mana payment, while things like Sprint or Stealth are a continual mana payment. So Stealth is a really good example to explain this. The activation of Stealth takes 200 mana. For every second that Jinwoo uses Stealth after activating it, there's an additional mana cost. And Sprint works the exact same way. But leveling up and defeating powerful opponents isn't the only way that Jinwoo can get active abilities. As like we already covered in our previous video, every single hunter falls into a categorization. Now these categorizations within the confines of the system are known as jobs. So if your categorization is assassin, the system would recognize your job as assassin. And thus, because Jinwoo has a classification as a hunter and therefore a job, he has job-specific abilities. Right, they might actually be called classes. I think they're called classes. Whatever class you are not only comes with active abilities, but also passive abilities. See, if you're an assassin, you get access to things like stealth. If you're a tanker, you get access to things like longevity. Standard RPG logic. And Jinwoo, and this is kind of a spoiler, so once again, about a quarter of the way through the story, undergoes what's known as a job switch, or class switch, where he ends up switching to Necromancer, which makes sense when you consider the fact that the reason he got system is because the literal King of Death is trying to make him his vessel. But because Jinwoo ends up as a Necromancer, Jinwoo gets access to a myriad of necromancy abilities, like the ability to pull on the shadow of defeated enemies and make a clone of them that fights for him. Now, technically, nothing when it comes to necromancy is guaranteed, as many different factors can go into whether or not you're successful in bringing the thing back to life that you want to bring back to life. How powerful is it? How powerful are you? How long are you willing to try and pull the shadow out of its dead body and turn it into a clone? And so on and so forth. But by switching to Necromancer, Jinwoo gets a litany of different ways to build an army of undead soldiers, which is a really good thing considering the fact that he's always solo leveling. But now he doesn't need to be alone because he's got skeletons, and we love that for him. And thus, without getting into things like Ashborn's abilities, the real motivations behind the rulers and the monarchs, Darkheart, and basically the end game of solo leveling, that's everything that you need to know about Jinwoo's abilities. And while I would love to do an incredibly deep and detailed manhwa dive on all of Jinwoo's abilities, I finished the story like a year ago and I haven't reread it since, and I forget a lot, which is why I'm going to dedicate the rest of tonight to rereading the entire story, so I can do those kinds of things. But if you're about to be a casual enjoyer of the anime, then that's everything you need to know about Sis. You can't see the armor, the kid loves daggers, and it gets taller and faster every chapter. That's your TLDR. But if I missed anything about how the system works, so you guys want to hear me talk about anything else in solo leveling, tell me in the comments below. If you guys down there, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that notification bell. I hope this anime does well, because there is so much to talk about.
Nobody should fall behind here.
Solo leveling. Oh man, look at this fucking guy. Look at him. Holy shit. Welcome to the Justice League. Okay, when my food gets here, we'll probably take a break. Maybe. Hell, we might stop for tonight. I don't know.
You've heard it before and I'll say it again, but this is what the first episode should have ended on. A prologue as captivating as it was entertaining. Despite knowing exactly what was going to happen, I still found myself entranced by the grim situation Sung Jin found himself in. It was the part of solo leveling that, to me, differentiated this from every other power fantasy. Like, the tame substance of last episode definitely could have been perceived as basic, but it was here in episode 2 that we finally got to see what solo leveling really has to offer. We've still just barely scratched the surface, but if episode 2 had been combined with episode 1, an opening like that honestly would have felt just as impactful as Attack on Titans or Death Notes. I think it would have captured the attention of a lot more people right from the get-go. The setup to Doom, then tease of what's to come, really was portrayed better than I could have imagined. In fact, a lot of the scenes were a lot more gruesome than how even the manhwa portrayed it. And that's just one of the many differences between the manhwa and anime. The very thing we're going to talk about in this video here. Not only is it a comprehensive review of how the anime was compared to the manhwa though, but it's also a breakdown of the more subtle details left out from the novel. Episode 2. If I Had One More Chance, covering chapters 4 to 10 of the webcomic and chapters 4 to 7 of the web novel. This first little bit actually relates to the previous episode, but one of the biggest differences between the manhwa and anime here is the addition of this dagger for Sung Jin-woo during his raids. It wasn't something that he actually had available to him. Now, that may not seem like that big of a deal at first, but when you realize the implication is that Sung had done every raid with no weapon at all, it really makes you understand just how courageous he's been. I mean, it's one thing to confront a literal demon when you can use a sword, but to do so with nothing but the hands that you were born with, well, that's a whole nother feat that requires more than just bravery. It was all because Sung was committed to saving as much money as possible. He never invested any into buying a weapon because to him he felt it would just end up breaking anyway. So as long as the only thing to break was always his body, Sung knew he could just get healed and keep going hunting again. It was a mindset that not only highlighted his commitment to saving money, but at the same time also showed just how much risk he was putting on himself. Keep in mind, Sung definitely isn't a professional fighter, so to find out that he was straight throwing hands with every monster he was up against, well, that makes his feats a lot more impressive no matter how weak he is. He was quite literally boxing for every essence crystal that he came across. This didn't really work in his favor with the other hunters though, since to them not only did this highlight Sung's weakness as a hunter, but the injuries he sustained while doing so also doubled the workload of their healers. He was very quickly viewed more as a nuisance than an asset. A low-ranked tag-along that eventually became known as the weakest. Another subtle difference between the manhwa and the anime was the condescending look the statue quite visibly had over everyone. In the anime, it was more this neutral, I'm just a statue type face, whereas every panel from the manhwa made it seem like the statue was looking down on them. There was this clear disdain in its gaze here that I feel the anime didn't really capture in the beginning. The later smile was a whole different emotion I feel it animated perfectly, but the expressions leading up to that could have been a bit more intimidating. Now, it was after the laser beam was fired that, of the 16 hunters alive, only 11 were remaining active. Had Sung reacted 1/100th of a second later, then he too would have been on that list of casualties. It was in the novels that he was about to get back up right after, but just before he could, that's when Mr. Song prevented him. By using the one good arm he had left, he had forced Sung back down and ordered the rest to do the same. Now, I know that's an order we saw him give in the anime, but by having that additional part where he helps out Sung as well, It really goes to highlight just how much of a veteran he is. Despite losing his arm only a mere few seconds ago, he had quickly composed himself and started looking out for others. He neither descended into panic nor focused solely on himself, but instead continued to lead and focused on everyone else's survival. It was the true mark of someone who's been a hunter for over 10 years now. To continue speaking to that experience, the reason he knew this dungeon was a
Okay.
Thank you for trying. We'll try again and again. That's all any of us can ever do.
Okay. We'll take a quick intermission, folks. We'll be right back.
getting started.